Are you prepared for the unexpected? Many preppers think they have everything they need to survive, but the truth is, most won't make it past 30 days in a real survival scenario. From overlooked essentials to common planning mistakes, we'll break down the reasons why survival plans often fall apart. Whether you're a seasoned prepper or just starting your preparedness journey, this video will reveal crucial insights that could make all the difference. Stay tuned. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join our community and get more vital tips for staying ready when it matters most. 1. Stockpiling alone is not enough. When facing a true crisis, one of the biggest misconceptions people have is that stockpiling supplies will be enough to survive. Here's the harsh truth. If all you're doing is hoarding food and water, you're setting yourself up for a rude awakening. The reality is that most preppers who solely depend on their stockpiles will not make it past 30 days, and there are glaring reasons for this. First, consider how quickly supplies can deplete, especially if you're unprepared for the stress and unpredictability of a survival scenario. It's easy to look at a stack of canned goods and gallons of water in your basement and think you're good to go. But have you calculated your daily needs for every member of your household? Have you accounted for the increased caloric requirements that come with physical labor, stress, cold weather, or potential illnesses? Most people underestimate how much food and water they'll need just to get through a single day. Multiply that by 30 days, and your well-stocked pantry can start looking alarmingly bare in no time. And what happens when you eat through your supplies faster than expected? Many preppers plan to ration, but rationing can lead to malnutrition, fatigue, and mental decline. If your family is weak and unmotivated, they can't perform essential survival tasks. If you're relying on stockpiles in isolation without a strategy for sustainability or replenishment, you're setting yourself up to fail. Survival is about resilience, not just consumption. Second, stockpiles themselves are vulnerable. Think about spoilage, contamination, or theft. A single mistake in storing food or water, a compromised seal, a leaking container, or pest infiltration can wipe out weeks' worth of supplies overnight. If you haven't enforced rotation in your stockpile to ensure everything stays fresh, you could be sitting on expired goods that are unsafe to use. Are you ready to manage the fallout of spoiled supplies when you thought they were your lifeline? Have you practiced purifying water or cooking stored food so you know what works and what doesn't? Most likely the answer is no. Even more troubling is the risk of theft. If people around you catch wind of your supplies during a prolonged crisis, prepare to fight. Desperation makes people dangerous. And if all you have to depend on is stashable resources, then you've given potential attackers everything they need to survive. And all the more reason to target your home. Without adequate planning, defensive measures, or hidden supply system, stockpiles alone can turn you into a sitting duck. Third, stockpiles don't cover skill gaps. Surviving long-term requires adaptability, not just resources in the pantry. Can you grow your own food, hunt or trap for meat, repair damaged shelter or vehicles? These are not skills you can acquire overnight in the middle of a disaster. Most preppers put all their focus into acquiring things they can buy, ignoring the fact that knowledge and practice are harder to come by, but far more valuable. Even if you get through those first 30 days on what you've stored, what happens after? The minute your stockpile runs out, so does your ability to survive, unless you've actively developed strategies to become self-sufficient. Additionally, practicing living off your preps is another critical step that the majority of preppers ignore. It's one thing to store rice and beans. It's another to actually make edible meals from them consistently while rationing supplies. Have you tried living without power, running water, or access to conveniences like grocery stores or takeout? If you're not running drills or mock scenarios with your family, you won't know where the holes are in your plan. And trust me, there are always holes. Lastly, the emotional and psychological toll can't be ignored. Stockpiling food and water won't prepare you for the panic, fear, or anxiety that comes with a long-term crisis situation. Isolation, arguments within the household, and the overwhelming sense of uncertainty can break even the strongest among us if you haven't mentally fortified yourself. If your survival strategy begins and ends with a mountain of boxed goods, you're leaving yourself unprepared in every other way. To make it clear, stockpiles are important. They're the foundation you need to get started, but they're just that, a starting point. What separates survivors from everyone else isn't a fully loaded pantry. It's the ability to adapt, innovate, and think long-term. Learn to grow your own food, purify your own water, defend yourself and your supplies, teach your family survival strategies and put them into practice. Build a community of like-minded individuals you can rely on when things get tough, because going it alone is rarely the best choice. Preparation is about more than just gathering supplies. It's about building a skill set. testing your plans, and acknowledging that crises are unpredictable and messy. Too many preppers make the mistake of thinking they're safe just because they have enough cans and boxes to last a month. What comes after that? Without a sustainable plan in place, the odds are stacked against you. Stockpiling alone is not enough. Start preparing for the long haul, or don't bother at all. 2. Practice and experience are crucial. When it comes to survival, theory isn't enough. What separates success from failure is the ability to act effectively under pressure. Most preppers overestimate their skills because their knowledge is purely conceptual. Sure, you've watched YouTube videos or read survival guides, but until you've put your plans to the test in real-world scenarios, you're relying on guesswork. That false confidence is a recipe for disaster. Real-world drills are non-negotiable. If you've never simulated a survival scenario, you have no idea how prepared you really are. Conduct blackout drills where you live without electricity for an extended period. Don't make it easy on yourself. No light bulbs, no microwave ovens, no air conditioning to fall back on. Can you cook a meal using only your alternative cooking methods? More importantly, can you endure the discomfort that comes with such limitations? These exercises expose the flaws in your plans, like realizing your solar generator doesn't cover the energy needs you thought it would. Another critical drill involves living exclusively off your stockpile for a week or more. Think you have enough food for a crisis? Try eating canned goods and frozen meals for 7 days and see how it impacts your mood, digestion, and energy. By doing this, you'll identify gaps in nutrition, variety, and sustainability. Many preppers assume their food storage is adequate, but in practice, most will discover issues like monotony of meals, missed essential nutrients, or wasteful packaging that creates more frustration during a crisis. If your plan can't handle a week of testing, it won't support you after 30 days. Facing discomfort is necessary. The romanticized idea of survival ends quickly the moment discomfort sets in. You'll face isolation, boredom from repetitive tasks, and the mental toll of scarcity. Without practice, you'll fold under stress. Survival isn't just about tools and stockpiles. It's about maintaining your composure and focus even when everything feels bleak. People vastly underestimate how difficult it is to ration food properly or stay physically active to avoid lack of entertainment, proper hygiene, and consistent sleep all tear away at your resolve. When you simulate survival in advance, you learn how to deal with these challenges before they're compounded by the fear of an actual crisis. You'll know how to organize your resources better, establish routines, and adapt to uncomfortable situations instead of breaking down in real time. Mistakes made during practice are opportunities to adjust your strategy. Those same mistakes during a real event could cost you your life. Avoiding guesswork is survival wisdom. Prepping isn't about stockpiling gear and hoping for the best. An untested plan isn't a plan at all. It's a liability. People think confidence will carry them through, but confidence that isn't backed by experience is sheer arrogance. Suppose you've never used half the items in your bug-out bag, or tested ways to start a fire in poor weather. When the time comes, do you think the theoretical knowledge you picked up online will magically come alive under life-threatening pressure? It won't. Skills come from doing, and survival comes from skills. Many preppers choose optimism over reality, believing that having the right tools will be enough. But in survival situations, you're battling more than just external threats. You're battling yourself. The fear, stress, and physical toll expose any cracks in your preparation. Those who survive aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest stockpile. They're the ones who've practiced living like their supplies and skills are all they have. The bottom line, without practice, all the food and gear in the world won't save you. Comfort now doesn't translate to competence in a crisis. If you haven't faced the discomfort of isolation or the pressure of rationing supplies through drills, you're setting yourself up for failure. Experience breeds confidence, humility, and the adaptability you'll need to make it through a survival situation. Stop assuming you'll figure it out when the time comes. Test your limits now, learn from failure, and refine your strategy before it's too late. 3. Skills over gadgets. The harsh reality is that most preppers put too much faith in their gear and not enough in themselves. Gadgets can and will fail. It's not a question of if, but when. Batteries drain, electronics glitch, and even the most expensive tools can break when you need them the most. Survival isn't about owning the latest equipment. It's about knowing how to adapt and thrive without it. If you don't have the skills to back up your gear, you've already lost. Learn basics like fire and water management. Anyone can buy a top-of-the-line survival lighter or water filter, but what happens when those fail? Can you start a fire without matches or filter water, with items you find in the wild? These are fundamental skills no prepper can afford to overlook. Fire keeps you warm and cooks your food. Clean water keeps you alive. Failing to master these basics is a death sentence in a survival situation. Stop relying on modern tools. The comfort of modern tools creates complacency. Preppers who depend solely on technology like GPS systems or solar chargers don't realize how easily these tools can become useless. What if it's cloudy for days or your GPS loses signal? Old-school navigation skills like reading a map, using a compass, or even tracking by the stars are critical. When tools stop working, your ability to improvise will make all the difference. Train under real-world stress. Owning the right gear isn't enough. Can you set up a tent after hiking for 10 hours in freezing rain, mentally and physically exhausted? Can you tie an emergency knot when your hands are trembling with cold? Practice your skills in extreme conditions, not just when it's convenient in your backyard. Comfort does not mimic reality. Preppers who don't push themselves when training will fall apart as soon as stress levels rise. It comes down to you. When it's all stripped away, your gear, your shelter, your comforts, your survival hinges on what's in your head, the knowledge, the experience, and your ability to problem solve when everything goes wrong. Most preppers focus on stockpiling and forget that their most critical resource is themselves. Without skills, all the gadgets in the world won't save you. Stop being gear-reliant and start being self-reliant. 4. Mental and emotional preparedness. The stark reality is that most preppers focus exclusively on stockpiling supplies, but completely neglect the mental and emotional fortitude needed to survive beyond a month in a true collapse scenario. Sure, you might have enough food, water, and gear to last for weeks, but if you crumble mentally, all of those resources won't save you. Survival is as much a mental battle as a physical one, and ignoring this truth puts you at a serious disadvantage. When the dust settles after an initial disaster, the real challenge begins. Coping with isolation, fear, and a future that suddenly feels bleak and uncertain. Loneliness is often underestimated but is a dangerous foe. Without meaningful human interaction, your mental stability can deteriorate rapidly. The negative spiral of self-doubt, paranoia, and depression can destroy even the best-laid plans. You must mentally prepare for prolonged solitude or strained relationships with those you are likely to endure tough situations with. Survival isn't glamorous. It often feels monotonous, hopeless, and utterly exhausting. Fear, too, is a silent enemy. The fear of not knowing what comes next, whether it's a second wave of disaster, running into hostile people, or simply running out of supplies, paralyzes the unprepared. Fear clouds judgment and can lead to rash, often catastrophic mistakes. An untrained mind in survival mode cannot handle this level of constant pressure. Preppers who don't confront their vulnerabilities before disaster strikes are setting themselves up for failure when every decision matters. Even worse, desperation has proven time and again to push people into dangerous actions. When faced with dwindling resources or degradation in physical health, many will turn to theft, violence, or ill-conceived risk-taking in a frantic attempt to secure what's missing. Once desperation sets in, rational thinking takes a back seat, and survival plans unravel. It's not the others out there that will be your worst enemy. It's your own declining mental and emotional control. Building real resilience starts long before a crisis begins. Mental discipline is the foundation. It's not enough to be physically tough. You need to cultivate grit, focus, and the ability to push through adversity without panicking. Prepare now by forcing yourself out of your comfort zone. Take cold showers, practice fasting, and push your body and mind to their limits. Small discomforts in daily life build the mental muscle you'll need when nothing feels secure or safe. Self-awareness is equally crucial. You must know yourself, your triggers, your weaknesses, and your limits. Use this knowledge not to avoid discomfort, but to grow stronger. Mental preparedness means anticipating and actively confronting the mental challenges of survival before they arise. Learn coping strategies now, like controlled breathing, mental reframing, and staying grounded in chaotic situations. At the end of the day, mental and emotional strength could be the single most important factor in whether you make it through those first 30 days or fall apart. Don't make the mistake of focusing only on gear and supplies while ignoring your emotional endurance. It's not the bunker, the beans, or the bullets that give you the edge. It's your mind. Prepare it, because if you lose that battle, you've already lost. Survival doesn't reward the unprepared. 5. Physical fitness is essential. When disaster strikes, no amount of top-of-the-line gear will save someone who's physically unfit. It's a harsh reality that most preppers don't want to hear, but it's true. Your body is your #1 survival tool. Without the strength, stamina, and endurance to perform grueling tasks, your chances of lasting even 30 days in a survival scenario are slim to none. Think about the physical demands of a true survival situation. You'll need to haul heavy loads of water, maybe for long distances. Chopping enough firewood to keep your home warm for days or weeks requires not only strength but also proper technique to avoid injury. If it comes to defending your property from intruders, you'll need the ability to fight back, including running, dodging, and overpowering someone who could be just as desperate as you are. These aren't leisurely tasks, they're exhausting. If you're not fit, they'll wear you down quickly. The problem is that modern sedentary lifestyles have left many people physically unprepared. Most people sit for hours on end, whether at work, commuting, or on the couch. Sure, some may claim they're ready because they hit the gym occasionally, but prepping is about real-world functionality, not just looking good in a mirror. If you can bench press your body weight but can't hike uphill carrying a bug-out bag for miles, you're not ready. Survival is about practical fitness, not glamour muscle. Building the physical capacity to endure survival challenges requires serious effort and consistency. It's not enough to say you'll rise to the occasion when the time comes. If you're not training now, your body won't magically become capable under pressure. Instead, commit to a long-term fitness regimen. Focus on exercises that build strength, endurance, and flexibility. Lift weights to build the muscles needed for carrying, chopping, and climbing. Engage in cardio activities like running, hiking, or swimming to improve stamina. And don't forget functional fitness drills that mimic real-life survival tasks, carrying heavy objects, scrambling over obstacles, or digging. Testing your physical limits is also critical. Go beyond basic 30 minutes of moderate activity workouts and push your boundaries. Run longer and faster. Load your backpack with extra weight or challenge yourself with difficult terrain hikes. If you never explore your limits before a disaster, you might discover them too late, when failure could mean death. It's also crucial to recognize that poor physical fitness undermines survival in other ways. A weak, unfit body is more prone to injuries like sprains, strains, or fractures, which could end your chances of lasting 30 days. Poor endurance might mean taking longer to complete critical tasks, leaving you vulnerable or inefficient when speed is essential. And don't forget that your immune system depends on physical health. An exhausted, sedentary body is more likely to fall prey to illnesses, which can be debilitating or even deadly in a survival scenario. To put it bluntly, you can't be a good prepper without prioritizing your health. Stockpiling food, water, and gear is meaningless if you can't physically use them when the time comes. Whatever your age or current fitness level, start today. Build strength, hone endurance, and train your body to handle the rigors of survival. Because when the grid goes down, the only thing more dangerous than the situation around you is an unfit body that can't rise to the challenge. Don't be part of the majority who won't make it past 30 days. Get fit or get left behind. 6. Sanitation and waste management. When it comes to survival, sanitation and waste management are two of the most underrated yet critical aspects of prepping. It's easy to get caught up stockpiling food, water, and ammunition, but what most preppers fail to consider is how quickly a lack of sanitation can turn into an uncontrollable health disaster. The harsh reality? If you're not prepared to handle waste effectively, you and your family might not make it past 30 days. Without sanitation, disease will kill you faster than starvation. Think about it. Our modern waste disposal systems keep our homes livable and disease-free. Remove that convenience, and you're suddenly contending with problems you've likely never faced. Accumulated trash, soiled clothing, and most importantly, human waste create the perfect environment for bacteria, viruses, and pests to thrive. Diseases like cholera, typhoid, and dysentery can spread like wildfire in unsanitary conditions. These aren't just trivial illnesses, they can kill you faster than the food in your pantry can run out. And it doesn't take long for these issues to start. Within a week of a disruption in waste disposal, pathogens will be multiplying, and the area will become a breeding ground for flies and rodents. By the end of the first month, you could be dealing with a full-blown health crisis that will take out even the most stocked and prepared household. Human waste is your hidden enemy. Handling human waste is one of the most overlooked facets of survival. Sure, you can stock up on canned goods and water filtration systems, but where is all your waste going to go? Without a functioning toilet system, you'll need an alternative. Preppers who don't have a plan for human waste disposal are setting themselves up for disaster. Digging a simple latrine is a temporary solution, but in a long-term survival situation, you'll need to adopt more sustainable strategies, like composting toilets. Failing to address this issue could turn your safe haven into a toxic environment. Improper disposal of human waste doesn't just stink, it spreads deadly diseases through water contamination and physical contact. That pristine stream or pond you're using for drinking water can quickly become a source of deadly infections if waste isn't managed correctly. Your trash will kill you too. Household garbage might seem like an afterthought when compared to human waste, but it's just as dangerous. Piles of trash will attract pests like rats and cockroaches, which carry disease and can invade your food stores. These creatures can tear through even the most securely packaged supplies, forcing you to balance between fighting off pests and risking malnutrition. Burning your trash might seem like a quick fix, but it's not always viable or safe. It can release harmful toxins into the air, especially if you're burning plastics or other non-organic materials. Plus, fire carries its own risks, especially in urban areas where uncontrolled burns can quickly spiral out of hand. Maintain cleanliness like your life depends on it, because it does. Your sanitation setup should be just as robust as your food and water systems. Stock up on basic cleaning supplies, bleach, gloves, detergent, and disinfectants to keep surfaces clean and prevent the spread of germs. Water may become a limited resource, but maintaining personal hygiene is non-negotiable. Hand washing is critical, especially before eating or after handling waste. If you skimp on cleanliness, you're playing Russian roulette with your health. Plan ahead by creating a waste disposal system that minimizes contamination and is sustainable for months or even years. Keep trash contained and as far from your living quarters as possible. Establish a routine for waste disposal and stick to it religiously. Teach everyone in your household the importance of sanitation, because the second someone ignores these protocols, it could mean the end for all of you. Most preppers overlook this critical reality. The truth is, most so-called preppers won't survive because they underestimate the dangers of poor sanitation in a survival scenario. All the stockpiles in the world won't save you if disease takes hold in your household. Sanitation isn't optional. It's essential. If you're serious about lasting more than 30 days, you need a comprehensive plan for waste management. Failure to do so means you're just counting down the days until illness takes you or forces you out of your supposedly secure location. Don't become a statistic. Get your sanitation plan in place now, or your prepping efforts might all be in vain. 7. Operational security, OPSEC. Operational security, OPSEC, is a critical yet often overlooked factor in survival preparedness. Most preppers fail miserably in this area, and it could be the nail in their coffin when a real crisis hits. All the stockpiles, survival gear, and training in the world won't save you if you don't know how to maintain your privacy and keep your plans secure. Trusting the wrong person or letting your guard down even once can lead to disaster. First, your activities, purchases, and preparations must remain concealed at all times. If your neighbors, coworkers, or friends pick up on the fact that you've been buying bulk food, water filters, and generators, guess where they're going to show up when supplies run out? Word spreads fast, especially during panic. A single slip-up, an offhand comment, or a visible stockpile in your garage can result in becoming a target for desperate people when society begins to unravel. Keep your storage discreet, buy supplies in smaller quantities when possible, and refrain from posting on social media about prepping. Your future survival is dependent on others knowing as little as possible about your plans. Next, be careful about who you trust. Family and friends might seem like safe exceptions, but think twice before oversharing. Even well-meaning people can accidentally leak sensitive information, and you have no idea how they might act under the pressure of survival. Someone you trust today might become unpredictable and even dangerous in a life-or-death situation. Use caution in conversations, and never assume anyone will react rationally when everything around them collapses. Additionally, take steps to protect your home and resources from theft and intrusion. A hidden stash is better than an obvious one, but even then people might still find clues. Reinforce your doors and windows, consider hidden compartments for storing supplies, and develop escape plans in case intruders escalate the situation. Equip yourself with tools for self-defense. It's harsh, but in a lawless scenario, you'll need more than just locks to keep people out. Be prepared to take definitive actions to defend yourself and your stockpile if necessary. Managing your own behavior also matters. Don't underestimate how easily patterns can be tracked. If a crisis is ongoing and you're the only household with the lights on, the smell of cooking food, or fresh water flowing, you've just painted a giant target on yourself. Practice discipline. Be cautious about distinguishing yourself from others in any visible or audible way. Blend in as much as possible to avoid attention. The brutal reality is that failing to prioritize OPSEC increases your chances of being robbed, overrun, or worse. Human desperation knows no bounds. Your survival doesn't just rely on what you have, but how well you can keep it hidden. Most preppers don't fully grasp this until it's too late. And that's exactly why many won't make it past the first chaotic month of a real-world collapse. To survive the first 30 days of a societal collapse, one must prepare beyond stockpiling supplies. True survival depends on understanding human behavior, mastering OPSEC, and adapting quickly to the new environment. Those who fail to grasp the importance of staying under the radar, planning for the unpredictable, and protecting their resources will be among the first to fall. Survival is as much about mindset and strategy as it is about material preparation. By taking these lessons to heart, you increase your chances of enduring the chaos and emerging on the other side.